This tutorial is to show you how to add contact lens parameter buttons to your contact lens tab so you can automate the brand, base curve, and diameter that's put into your trial and RX fields. So what this does, I've set up temporary fields here to hold the parameters. When I click a button, it sends that contact lens information to the first set of fields. When this first set is filled in, the next button I press will go to the left eye. Then I can hit this button to clear them both, or if I put in and I just want the left eye, I can clear that one. That's the only way to get just the left lens information. Then let me clear this again and put 2 in here. All right, if I click T1, it sends that data to the trial 1 information. If I click T2, it sends it to T2. If I have a bioaffinity in the right and a toric in the left, I send that to T3, and then your optics I can send to the RX tab. Right. So the first thing we need to do is add 3 text boxes to hold the temporary brand, base curve, and diameter for the right eye, and then 3 more for the temporary brand, base curve, and diameter of the left eye. So the first thing you want to do is back up your template by going to EHR, Import Templates, MedRec Utilities, and following the directions there. After you do that, go back into the medical records and go to edit your template by going to EHR Settings and edit the record templates. While you're here, you want to find all the field IDs for where you're going to put your data. So you need your brand, base curve, and diameter for whatever trial lenses and RX fields that you have. You want to write those down so you have access to those. The field ID is the number in parentheses in the text box. If you have small fields and you can't see them, then you can take your mouse and draw a little box around there and it shifts it over. Now sometimes, like over here, I've done formatting for this, and so if you shift it over, you still can't see the number. Or if you want to know the field IDs for buttons, what you do is you go down here to the reorder button, and that puts you in reorder mode. And when you're in reorder mode, you can click inside the text box and then use your arrow keys to scroll that number so that you can see it. Okay, so that's 819, right? And this button is 673, 672. Or you can look in the list here. If you know what the field is, you can look in the list. And what I like to do when you're making up all these buttons, I like to put in future fields in case I need to expand on something. I like to try to keep similar functions clumped together. Okay, so you write down all these fields so that you have that information for later. Right? Then you want to add 6 text boxes to hold the temporary parameter data. To go directly to a field, you can click on the left hand side and just type in the field number. So mine started 818, and that'll jump right to that field. And so you can see this is temporary brand OD holds the parameters set by the contact lens button. I have no label in there because I know what they are, and then it's a text with 1-line box. Okay, so you'd add that to the field, which I'm not going to do because they're already on there, but you'd add that to the field. It changes back to move item mode. Okay, so that's 818, 819, and 820 for the right eye, and then 821, 822, 823 for the left eye. Okay, so what those do is they're going to hold this data. When I push these buttons, I'm going to send the data to these fields. Okay, and then this T1 button is going to send right and left brand, base curve, and diameter to T1. T2 sends it to trial 2, T3 sends it to trial 3, and RX sends it to the final contact lens RX. Okay. After you add these 6 fields, then I would make a clear button. And my clear button is 828. That's this one here. Okay. That's going to clear all the temporary parameter fields. So we're going to add a new field. We're going to call it X. Say clear temp fields so you know what it is. In my case, it's 818 through 823, and then set this to a button. And now you can do one of 2 things. You can add command lines individually. Okay, so you say 818 is the one I want to clear, and you set the value to, and you leave that blank. Okay, and then you go down here and you hit save. All right, and what it does is it adds this command here. Now this one's really simple, so you can just do it manually. You don't have to do the each individual step. You can just go in and go 819, set to value, and leave that blank. 820, set to value, leave it blank, so on until you get everything that you want. Okay, you don't have to save because you're lining up the commands right there. Okay, and the action is left blank because you want to set that to blank. Now then I'd add another button. I added this one to clear just the right eye. That's optional, but if you have it left lens only, you have to put it in both eyes and then manually clear it out. So I just added this the other day. All right, so you do the same thing, add a new field, make it a button, just put in the data for 8, 18, 19, and 20, and then you're done. You do right click on the template, click select add to field, and then you can change it to whatever size you want. This help button in here tells you how to change sizes and line stuff up and things like that. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so once you've got those in, now you need to add your individual contact lenses. So my buttons start at 598, so I'm going to put 598 in here, and that goes to my first button. Okay, that's Oasis 8.4. Okay, to do it step by step, you add a button, put in the label that you want, and then ignore this stuff here that's already in there. Okay, what we're going to do is choose first blank of a series, right? And then what we do is we put the fields that we want to put the date in. We want to put it to go to 818. That's the right eye brand first. So we want to look at 818 first, and if that's full, we want it to go to 821, which is the left eye brand. And then what we want to do is set it to the value, and we want it AccuView Oasis. Okay, and then you hit save. Okay, so what this says is it just added this line here. First of field 818, then 821, set to value AccuView Oasis. Okay, so you can just copy this and then change the numbers to 819 and 822. Copy it again and put in the information that you want. Crystal has this weird quirk that we can take advantage of where it saves the information from the last field that you were on immediately before. Okay, so what you do is you're on this button, okay, and you add a new field, and then you label it whatever you want. Test. We'll just use test contact lens. Okay, and now you don't set it to a button yet. Okay, go back to copy. Where was that? Let's do this 598. Okay, so go back to this one that you want to copy. All right, now go to your new button and set it to button, and it copies all the commands that were on the previous one. Right, so now you can just change this to test brand and base curve 8.2, whatever you want to have in here. Okay, and now you've got a new button. To add the button to the template, right click, click add to field, and there it is. Resize it, move it to wherever you want it to go. Okay, so you just repeat that for all of your buttons that you want to do. Okay, you've got that new button right there. Okay, add a new field, test 2. Don't change the thing. Go to this button that's got the fields that you want. Okay, then go back to test 2, change it to a button, and now it's got the things. Edit whatever you want, put it on the template. Okay, you just keep repeating that until you have all of your things. If you want to add a label, like I've got Cooper Vision here, if you want to put categories, then add a new field, Cooper, change it to a text only, no box, and add it to the field. There you go. Okay, now the last thing you have to do is create these buttons. That's to send the data. Okay, you have these buttons that puts the data here. Then you want to, once these are filled, you want to send this data to T1, T2, or T3. And those buttons are 824. Okay. One thing that I did is I already have clear material buttons on my template that clear out these fields. When you link fields with Crystal, if the beginning of the new field is the same as the old field, it doesn't overwrite it. So anytime I link, I always clear the fields first. So in this particular button, I have it run this button 762 that clears these fields. Then I tell it to link the temporary fields to the trial or RX fields that I want. Okay, so in this case, 818, that's the temporary brand, goes to 635, that's the T1 brand. And you go through do the 6 things. Okay, then at the end, I run this button here that clears these fields, so it's empty. So to do that, you have to make your first button, right? And I'm going to say T1. Right? I'm going to make that a button, and you can add your command, clear send values to T1. And you add a command. First we're going to clear them out. So I'm going to clear out field 635 is my T1 brand. Get rid of this stuff. It kept that because that was in there last. Okay. And I want to set that value to blank. Okay, so just eliminate that. And then scroll down and save it. And then you repeat that, 636, that's a value. Okay, so just continue that for the clearing your brand and base curve of T1. So that's where we're sending this stuff. Okay, then to link it, okay, I add a command and I do field action. I'm going to send this temporary 818. I want to link that to field 635. So brand, temporary brand, right eye. I'm going to link that to field 635, and you put it in row 1. And you can hit replace, but it doesn't really make any difference because I cleared them out before. And you do want to clear them out. If you have replace, there's a little star before it. Okay, now you can do them manually, or you can just copy it. You know, the next one is 819, and you want to link to field, so that 637 is the base curve. Okay, so do star 637, comma 1. And then 820 is the temporary diameter, linked to field, and the diameter is 639. Star 639, comma 1. Okay, and you repeat it for the left eye. So you add all 6, okay, and then the last one is you find this button, which this button is 1287. Okay, so the last one, you can say add a command, and you say field 1287. Okay, we don't want to link it, we want to run the button command. Okay, so we save that, and it puts in the command 1287 RBC, that's run button command. Okay, so you can manually type it in there if you want, or select it through the thing. Right? Then when you get all done, you right click and add it to the field, and then move it up to where you need it. Okay. So you want to test this along the way. So you have the T1 button made, save your template, go and test it. If it works, copy that button to copy that function to other buttons. If it doesn't work, then you got to go back here and figure out what you did wrong. Okay. So it sounds really complicated, but it's not that bad if you get your field ID numbers ready, so you have that and aren't constantly searching around for that. And if you just go through the process of what you're doing, you get one button done, then all the rest of these are just copy and edit for the new information. Before you go live, you want to test the buttons and make sure they're pulling over what you think they pull over. You might forget to edit one of these or something like that, and you have Oasis and it's putting in the Vita or whatever. So you want to test every button to make sure it's working properly. Okay? Good luck.